Hello everybody, John here from the sports department going over tonight's two-game LPL slate, and there's at least one interesting match on this one. The first one, not as much, which is Ultra Prime plus 1,000. They're 1-4 on the season, up against EDG minus 2,500. They are 6-0 on the season. Against winning teams, Ultra Prime is 0-2, EDG is 2-0. So obviously this is a stat wipe for EDG as well. They're just better at everything than Ultra Prime. Ultra Prime might be the worst team in the league. This is the not-so-exciting matchup of this day. What I would say is Ultra Prime, and I mean it's pretty straightforward, but you shouldn't be messing with Ultra Prime unless you're in just like the biggest fields. If you're in the $15, you want to take a shot on Ultra Prime, any team can win on any given day. EDG is going to lose some matches this year. If you want to, put 120, 150, $200 or something into Ultra Prime in the $15 or the $10 and just hope that tonight's their night, you're going to get them an extremely low ownership. But even on a two-game slate is like usually not even the best spot to take a shot on one of these big underdogs because people are kind of forced to be on. There's only 4 teams to be on, so their ownership's going to be higher on this kind of slate than it would be normally. I think I probably just don't even bother trying to score on Ultra Prime here. I'd rather take a shot on a team like this on like a 4-game slate where their ownership is going to be like in the low single digits. You can get these guys at 1% on a 4-game slate. On this slate, you're probably going to get them at 10%, just because people, as huge of an underdog as they are, people are not going to, there's nowhere else to go. There's only 4 teams to play. Some people are going to take a shot on the big underdog. So Ultra Prime maybe feels like a fade in this spot. EDG is just significantly better, and there's really no reason to think that Ultra Prime is going to be better today than they have been in the past. The other matchup, however, is quite interesting. Invictus Gaming minus 115, 2-3 on the season, up against LGD minus 115, 3-3 on the season. So very similar. They're split 115s. Against winning teams, IG is 0-3, LGD is 1-2. Statistically, 1781 to 1751, minus 10 to minus 31, tied in first blood, slight first turret advantage to IG, and a 1% dragon advantage to IG. So extremely close statistics between IG and LGD. It's a good spot for a split 115s. I think LGD has my lean in this one. I kind of think they're the favorite, and they're this cheaper priced DraftKings team, I believe. Let me check the salaries. Let's see, more expensive at top lane, less expensive in the jungle, less expensive mid, more expensive at AD carry and support. So 2 positions where they're cheaper, mid and jungle. I kind of feel like LGD is the team that has a slight advantage in this matchup. It's very close though. This is the one where people are going to have to split their ownership. I kind of think people are going to recognize that for ownership. I have LGD slightly ahead of LGD. I'm not sure this is how it's going to play out, but IG just has so much pedigree historically that I think people are more likely to lean towards them a little bit. I think people just, like, subtle bias might have people slightly higher on IG than LGD. If people are being completely clear-headed about this slate, I think LGD will have the higher ownership. So it's hard for me to predict. I think these 2 teams will be very, very, very close regardless. I don't think you're going to see a big edge between IG and LGD. I personally think I'm going to lean more on the LGD side. And if I'm going to play cash tonight, this is a bad slate for cash in my opinion. But if I'm going to play cash, I think I'm going to play the LGD side. You could also play some sort of lineup that gets you 4 EDG and splits this matchup. It's a weird thing I don't do very often, but when you have a spot where it's split minus 115s and you have no money line edge on either of those teams, if you don't have a strong lean, sometimes you could make a cash lineup that was like, let me have a quick look. Let's see, could you get Viper Captain if you went with the cheaper of the other 2 AD carries? They're actually priced the same there. So go Kramer. Lucas is very cheap at support, and then fill it out with EDG players. Gives you 4,500. Not quite enough to get LGD or Invictus team. What about? Yeah, we'd have to play that. And they're the same price. So you couldn't quite get the AD carry captain out of it, but something along these lines I don't think is the worst idea. You can split over to like LGD team if you could fit it in there somehow. I'm I think something like that is yeah, a reasonable idea on a slate like this. Let's see, how expensive is EDG's support? They got Mako all the way up there at 6,000. So yeah, you're not going to be able to do it with 80 carry captain, I don't think. But you might be able to get, a slight captain upgrade that way. That's something to think about on a slate like this where it's a very tough matchup. I think I'm going to lean to the LGD side and just play LGD EDG in cash. If you did that, you can get Kramer captain with 4 LGD. I do think that matchup is close enough that I would really rather be on 4 EDG. I assume there's no way for me to do that with Viper captain, but let me just have a look. I assume if I could have done it with Viper captain, it would have worked with Lucas a minute ago. You can go ZA, GG. Yeah, you're 100 off. That's what I thought it would be, because that's the same price bonus that you're getting from ZA that you were getting from Lucas. But you could play Scout Captain, I assume, Scout with ZA, and probably you'd have to play Viper, Mako, probably Shadow, honestly. I assume you could do this. Scout has not had a great year so far, though. What if we did GG Captain with LGD? Here, I want to use 4 EDG, so let's go to the settings real quick. Let's set it at maximum 3 LGD. Let's take LGD or EDG team out of the list, and then use optimizer settings. So then it prefers the Kramer captain with 4 EDG, which makes sense. I kind of don't want an LGD captain just in case. This is pretty good though. Assume there's absolutely no way to get this. What about GG captain? You get Shadow and Fearness, and it gets you 614. Decent upgrade, but you're putting a lot more on the line when you put an LGD captain, or you're taking a bigger risk when you take an LGD captain. Just one quick thing to look at. I know it's annoying to do it on my phone, but let me just quickly look at GG's scoring this year, because Shadow's scoring has been very comparative to 80 carry. 95, 66, 107. 66, 107. He's pretty close. He's pretty close to Viper. You might be, the safer option is probably just to go GG captain and play 4 LG or 4 EDG, just to make sure you're getting 4 of the team that's super likely to win. And if that way, if your opponent is on like 3 LGD players or some mixture of LGD and IG players, which is what my opponent will certainly be on, you at least have the concrete 4 EDG to make sure that if your other team loses, you're getting the most out of your EDG stack. For GPPs, I think 4 stacks of IG and LGD in the midfields instead of 4 stacking EDG is your biggest thing. I probably won't play any EDG 4 stacks in the mid-size field or smaller field GPPs. I'll go with 4 stacks from this game. The other thing you could do in the big fields on a slate like this, I wouldn't mind an IG LGD game stack. I wouldn't hate that at all. Something like that with EDG team could be good. EDG very low kills in their wins in general. They were like that last season too, so that's definitely a long-term trend. So maybe, if there's a very bloody IG win in game 1 and a very bloody LGD win in game 2, a game stack of this game could definitely get there. So I don't mind game stacks of IG LGD as well. I'll probably have 1 or 2 of those running around. That is all for this slate, guys. I know it's not the most exciting, but it's a 2-game slate, so what are you going to do? Any other questions, just hit me up in the Discord or on Twitter if I forgot anything. I'm spacey this morning, so it feels like I forgot something, but who knows, maybe I didn't. If there's anything I did forget, just hit me up about it, and we'll talk about it. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow when we get back to some slightly wilder slates, and back leading into the weekend again, man. Appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you later.